my eye. Through the mist, my surprise shone light from distant northern skies. At that point, I realized I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play.
Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, interviews with awakened masters as they share their quantum work with you. The Quantum Guide Show is produced by Karen Holton, creator of the 9 Steps to Quantum Health Transformation, a free 9-step online course to give you the tips and resources you need to thrive. Karen lost and continues to keep off 178 pounds of surplus body weight as she made her dreams come true. Whether you are awakening to the ascension process or simply want a wiser, more efficient lifestyle, this program is for you. No strings attached. The Quantum Guide Show is brought to you in part by Zendome's Orgonite, Karen's unique brand of orgone generators, ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. Find out how orgone generators work and what they can do for you. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out Karen's current selection, only available from her website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Quantum Health Transformation. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. In episode 80, I'm very excited to have Dave Weiss on the show. Dave is well known as Flat Earth Dave, and he is your go-to guy for flat Earth theory. And it's just going to be a great show today. And thank you so much, Dave, for joining us. And I'm just hoping, sorry, I'm having a few technical difficulties. I will be.
All right.
There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Welcome to the show, Dave. It's just such a pleasure to have you on the show. As I was sort of mentioning off camera, I myself first found out about flat Earth theory. Before that, I just thought it was a big joke. And I found out about it through Santos Bonacci and followed some of his work. And surprise, surprise, I got to tell you, my honest reaction when I first actually listened to the proof or the data, I got physically sick. It shook up my paradigm, my reality so much that I physically got sick. And I said to myself, Karen, you need to look into this because you've been heavily programmed. And this is the best way, I think, for folks to deprogram is to start with an honest analysis of flat Earth theory. And so that's what we're going to delve in today. Go ahead.
And the programming is so strong that people refuse to look in it. We all have the same story. Heard about flat Earth, thought it was the dumbest thing ever, refused to look at it, right? Yeah. Then I was forced to look at it, and then it like destroyed my whole worldview. The thing is, right, our worldview is, people don't even know what they believe. They believe they live on a spinning, spiraling, rock in space, right? There's so many layers to how insane that is. First, well, without getting into all that, but that's the programming stops us from looking. And then when we look, our foundation is the rug ripped out from under us, or is our foundation shaken? The truth is the lie is shaken, and your life was living inside of this lie in this sphere. And now you have a foundation, not this. Mm-hmm. This isn't a foundation. You're spinning out of control, right? Think about this. We live on a rock that has water on the outside of it, that has air on the outside of that, adjacent to a void, to a vacuum. First graders should know that that is an impossibility, a scientific impossibility. You can't have gas pressure without a container, right? Gas pressure, water, rock, adjacent to a vacuum. Game over. The whole thing's finished right there. But if you want to take it further, we go farther and farther. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour. Can you fathom what 66,000 miles an hour is?
No, it's
We're
unbelievable.
chasing the sun at 100,000 miles an hour. And just for, I'm sure you've seen this, but this is a rocket sled, track sled. And watch, it's going to go by at, can't even say it, Mach 8.6. Okay. We are orbiting the sun in a curved trajectory, speeding up and slowing down, averaging 66,000 miles an hour. 10 times faster than this rocket sled. We're chasing the sun 100 times faster. So now remember, rock, water, air in a vacuum, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, going 10 times faster than this in one direction and 100 times faster in another direction, all at the same time. And somehow when we go out into nature, we have this.
Yeah.
I told
exactly.
you we had two stories. One was from nature and one was from a man. One of them's a lie and one of them's the truth. Can you tell me which one is a lie and which one's the truth? Well, we don't know. Men don't always lie, but nature never lies.
Yeah.
This is not a container. Water needs a container. This is not a container that is moving in any way, shape, or form. Now, if there was an earthquake, tiny little shaking of the earth, forget all these other motions. Just a tiny little shaking, you'd know it. You'd see it. You stamp your foot, just vibrate the land at the edge of this water. You're going to see it go all the way across. Okay? This tells you right here, water, large bodies of water at rest are testably, measurably, scientifically, provably flat.
Mm-hmm.
People go, what about a drop of water? That's a sphere. Well, a drop of water has surface tension. A gallon of water doesn't have surface tension. A lake doesn't have surface tension. The oceans don't have surface tension. I mean, the same amount of surface tension, not enough to hold it. All right. So water tells us it's flat. There's so many scientific things that tell us the earth is not a sphere. I can't even keep track of them. I tried to make a list. I'm like, forget it. I'll just talk to people and they'll there's too many to go. We only have an hour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I like to start. You know, and then people go, well, you make a lot of good points, Dave, but I still believe the earth is a ball, a sphere. Well, is that knowing or is that brainwashing? Well, what's the difference? Knowing is actually scientifically testing, looking, researching, and understanding. And brainwashing is believing without a shred of proof. Well,
Yeah.
what about pictures of Earth? Okay. Right. There was a great video by this guy named Dell. He was talking to a guy and he's like, well, what's your proof of the globe? And he goes, well, all the pictures of Earth. Right.
Those are not pictures of Earth.
Yeah. And he goes, well, if I told you that I could fly, but I can't show you right here, but when I get home, I'll send you a video of me flying. Would that work? You know, and the guy's like, no. Right. Here are 9 pictures from NASA. Which one do you like? Okay. If one's fake, they're all fake. They're all fake.
Yeah. And that's very provable because people can go look up who the artist was that did the designs, go to their websites.
Robert Simon.
And the first thing they say is, these are not meant to be realistic depictions of the Earth. These are meant to be artistic representations. And so it's up to the viewer to do your own research. I actually spent a lot of time for a while, couple of years, trying to find pictures of the Earth that looked like pictures, couldn't find any. I even looked up the circumference of the equator and the circumference of each of the tropics so that I could do an analysis, and that was not available. So the more information that wasn't available, then the more curious I became.
Yeah. So the famous interview with Robert Simon, I think, NASA visual artist, said he made this blue marble, and he made it in Photoshop, right? And if you look, you can see these clouds are clone school. He didn't even morph the clouds. He used the same clouds again and again and again. This happens all the time, right? And this is not realistic. When you're up at 100,000 feet, well, this is way farther. This is like I don't know, 100,000 miles. At 100,000 feet, the Earth is white. You can't see through all the air. Okay. I mean, it's washed out. Look at these vivid colors. This is ridiculous, right? And people, they just want to believe. Oh, you know what? You can't see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this. I was pointing, and I forgot to send it over. These are the clouds. They're all photoshopped. Stepped and repeated. Stepped and repeated. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I saw another documentary by a woman, I can't remember her name, and she went to the different websites of these graphic artists and looked at the work they were doing. And basically, they would create what they thought that NASA or whoever wanted, and then the head in charge person would say, oh, no, we want more cloud here. We want, we don't want people to see how much deforestation there is, so put in some green here. And the whole thing was constructed. Now, if the Earth was a globe, there would at least be some shitty pictures out there, Dave. Wouldn't you agree? At least something. But,
well,
it's all fake.
They claim there are. So people say, well, we didn't have Photoshop. We didn't have Photoshop back then when they took these pictures. And these are paintings, right? So this right here, this would be hard to paint, right? All these reflections, the wine. Right? Well, this is a painting. This is not a photograph, right? This is a talented artist. It's a photorealistic painting. Now, do you think that somebody could paint this? I think you and I could both paint this. And I'm not a painter. I don't know if you are. Okay. I think we could paint this. This is pretty darn easy. Okay. Yeah. I bet you I could do this in 2 hours. And I only charge $30 million. Okay. Right. Because NASA gets $65 million every day. It's not even half a day's budget. I give them a great photo of Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The more and more I learn, the more I feel like I'm in the Truman Show. Absolutely. Dave, can you show us why when we look at the moon, it appears to be a globe, the sun appears to be a globe? I know you've got a graphic image that you can show the viewers that show how what we're seeing could possibly be several different options for shape.
I will, because I want to show one thing while we're talking about Photoshop and stuff. So the James Webb Telescope has been delivering some amazing pictures, right? Have you seen the pictures from this $10 billion Impossible telescope?
I've seen the images, but I actually don't believe that they're just camera shots. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. They're too spectacular.
Yeah, they're not. So this is one of our Flat Earth TikTok friends. And let me just fast forward. This is a little app called Canva. And in a moment's time, she was able to create with this free, well, the app's a few bucks, but there's a 14-day trial and you can make plenty in that 14 days. She was able to create these pictures. Where is it? Oops, hold on. And then we'll compare it. Here's the Hubble, here's James Webb, and here's Jenny. Pretty darn good, right? They tell us these masterful stories and stuff. I don't know if you have my app, but today on the app, the featured video is a guy that loves space, that loves images, and tells a story about these paint blobs. That they're galaxies, hundreds of trillions of miles away. People don't understand that the distances that they tell us are impossible. Impossible distance. Let's get into that in a second. I'll talk about impossible distances. And you wanted to see the moon. I know it's what you're looking for. It's just one of the first
things people's minds go to is that, well, if why would the moon be a globe if the Earth was flat? And you've got a really good explanation on why we visually perceive it as being a globe. Doesn't mean it is, right?
Yeah, my answer to what if the moon was a sphere? Well, what if the balls on a pool table were spheres? Does that mean the table's a sphere? What if the lights in my ceiling were spheres? Does that mean my floor is a sphere? Right? And we're going to talk about the spheres in the sky, that they're not what they're telling us in a moment. But here's 4 moons. Now, are these the size of a baseball or one of those yoga balls? You couldn't tell me unless you had something to scale it. This could be a yoga ball right here, right? Just off in the distance. Or it could be a ping pong ball very close. Okay. Or maybe it's not a ball at all, right? So look at this one, right? Is that a ping pong ball? Is that a baseball or a yoga ball? Well, that's about the size of a baseball and it's only a half a ball. How about this one? Is this a sphere? I think you know the answer, right? No, it's not. It's not a sphere. It's flat. Okay.
Wow.
And this one looks like a sphere, right? But it's not a sphere.
Ah, it's a cup.
Yeah. And the last one, that is the sphere. So here's the thing. If you don't know the size and the distance, you don't know anything. Okay, size or the distance, right? Are these tables the same width and length? Are they the same dimensions?
They sure don't.
Well, look.
I know.
Look at this.
It blows my mind.
It's the same exact thing. Now, here's one. Normally, when you're shown an optical illusion, your brain can sort it out. You can't sort it out. It still looks different. You can't imagine that this is the same width and length. Why is that? It's how our brains work. It's how our eyes work, right? Even though I'm showing you that it's the same, you can't sort it out, right? It's crazy. So if you can't, touch it, measure it, you don't know what it is. So that's always a good one. So let's talk about the distances. So let me get back here. So our sun, in a heliocentric model, they tell us it's this giant ball and we're a tiny little marble, right? Right? Where did I go? I'm gone. Here I am. So if the sun is a yoga ball, how big is the earth? Like a marble, right? Or a BB even. Okay. So the sun, when we see it, it looks like the size of a coin held at arm's length, right? If it was a mile over your head at noon, it would fill the whole sky. That'd be like you standing on top of a marble and me holding a yoga ball a millimeter over that marble. You would look up, it would fill the whole sky. Okay. Move it 93 million miles away, and it's now the size of a coin. Double that distance. How much smaller does it get? Quadruple that distance. How about 8 times that distance? Could you even see it? The answer obviously is no. Its angular size is too small. Well, that's a light hour. The distance light travels in an hour. Well, they're telling us these stars are light years away, hundreds of light years away. We can see Polaris here in the inner north, and they tell us it's 433 light years away. Well, I know that Polaris at 2 light days away, it's 48 times bigger than the Earth, than the sun. So if the sun was a light hour away, 8 times farther than it is now, which is ridiculous, an equivalent size for Polaris would be 48 times 1 hour, 2 days. So at 2 light days away, it's scientifically provable that the angular size is too small to see, ignoring the brightness issue, because that's a major issue. They tell us not that it's 2 days or weeks or months away or years, it's 433 light years away. Wrap that around your mind, and then you can't even understand what that distance is. 433 light years away. It's a number that our brains don't, we're not taught to comprehend these numbers. A million, okay, we can comprehend a million. You can count to a million. A billion, can you count to a billion? No, you can't. It would take, if you counted one number every second and never slept, it would take you 31 years. Okay, a trillion. Well, to count to a trillion, every second, one number, no pee breaks, no sleeping, it would take you 31,000 years. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 1 trillion. To get 899 trillion, 900 trillion, 998 trillion, 999 trillion, all those other trillions on top of it to get to a quadrillion. Okay. It's what's the word? It's unimaginable. We had a word for it. It's unfathomable.
Impossible. Maybe the word is impossible.
No. A trillion is hard to imagine. A quintillion is unfathomable for our brains, right? And they're telling us that we're seeing galaxies trillions and trillions and quintillions of miles away. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. Light spreads out, right? If you're in front of one of those million candle lights now, a foot away from your face, it'll be blinding, right? Move it a half a mile away, pretty dim. Move it a mile away, still see it. Move it 5 miles away, tiny little dot. 10 miles away, dot, you can see it. Okay. And the other problem is you move it 10 miles away, there's 60 feet of curvature in between you and the light. Well, we can see things much farther than that.
The other thing, Dave, is if we did live on a spinning ball that's, spinning with our solar system through space, why is it that for, I don't know how many thousands of years, certainly from the time of recorded history, have all the stars stayed in the same position year after year? Nothing is moving. And they go, oh, it's because of these vast distances. It doesn't matter. That always kind of threw me off. Why is it that that all the stars stay in the same place if we're moving it? And if they were moving, there would be more chaos and not this incredible clock-like order that we see in the sky.
We're corkscrewing through space, traveling, from one side of the sun to another, 186 million miles. Okay. Chasing the sun, traveling 4.5 billion miles a year, never to return to where we were before. But somehow, if you go out tonight and take a picture of the stars, go out the same time next year, same night, every star will be in the exact same place. You look through this hole on the Georgia Guidestones, which is no longer there at a very convenient time, and you see Polaris, right? Well, the argument is, well, why Polaris never moves is it's actually moving because, even though we're traveling 4.5 billion miles, that doesn't matter because it's so far away, there's no parallax. Parallax is when you're moving, your angle to something changes, right? Like my phone moves to my hand, right? So it's so far away, there's no parallax. That's ridiculous. But the wobbling of the Earth is moving a degree a year. While this was up for over 40 years and Polaris was still in it, that's over a half a degree. I'll say a half a degree to be generous, okay? And it's still there. Half a degree would have pushed it way out of that hole. Still there. Maybe that's the reason they took it down, because so much attention was coming to this impossibility on a wobbling Earth. It disproves precession. And precession is ridiculous because we're spinning, whirling, and twirling. By the time they were done drilling the hole, the star would have moved. Okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Where else would you want to go with that?
I wanted to, maybe you could talk a little bit about perspective, why when we look out at the ocean, it looks like there's a curvature. Can you speak a bit to that?
Yeah. So when we look out, so the sky just compresses into the ground, right? The clouds above your head are high, the clouds 20, 30 miles away merge into the horizon. Because that's how perspective works. It's how our eyes work. We know that those clouds are still that high in the air. We can zoom in and make the space bigger. Zoom out, our eyes see the clouds here. Okay, so let's. I have a good idea. I could show this. Here it is, clouds. So we know that these streetlights are all the same height, but they all merge into the horizon. Okay. And so here is this is very interesting. Try to follow this. So here's a cloud, 5, 10,000 feet above your head, whatever it is. If I drew a string from my eyes to the cloud, it would look like that. But as this cloud moves into the distance, we know it's the same height, but it merges with the horizon. So now if I look at the cloud 30 miles away and I draw a line, and a physical line, that line is parallel with the ground from my point of view. Okay. Is it really parallel with the ground? Well, it sure appears to be from my point of view. But what if you were standing underneath this cloud over here? Okay. So here's a view of you standing underneath that cloud. And by the way, this side view, nobody ever sees the side view. A side view we don't experience it. It's called Muppet vision. So this is you standing under the cloud. You see that string going from 10,000 feet down to my eyes. We're having two different experiences. Okay. At the same time, I see it level, you see it coming down. So now if we draw, and remember, I see this cloud at my horizon. So as the sun moves across the earth without dropping, it's moving away. So it's going down. And as it moves beyond this merge, which is merged into the horizon, this is what's happening. Okay. But from my point of view, again, this is Muppet vision, looking at something sideways. From my point of view, I see it like this. That line is level, that cloud is here. It all merges with the horizon, and the sun, as it goes away, just goes away beyond that cloud. And that's how I experience it. Follow all that? Did you follow that?
Basically, this the same as if there was a boat that you could see and it's sailing away from you. It would appear to get smaller and smaller and then disappear. But if we used a telephoto lens and zoomed in on that boat, we would see it's still there. It just appears that it's dropped off because of the limitations of our eyes and how they work.
Correct. So let me show the listeners that real quick. So here in the horizon, the sky meets the ground. So it meets the ground. And as we zoom in, I'm actually just increasing the angular size here. And as I zoom in, we can see, oh, look, there's a boat. Okay. There's a boat. So now watch, I'm going to zoom all the way out. And my finger here represents a wave in the foreground. Well, that little wave in the foreground with a shrinking boat could hide the boat. These little waves in the foreground here hide the boat from the bottom up, and now it's out of your sight. Someone's going, oh, it's over the curve. No, it's not. I didn't just zoom over the curve and zoom over the curve. I zoomed in on something that was too small for my eyes to see, right? If we lived on a physical curve, right? This is a curve. Let's flip it over. And this represented the curve of the earth. If I walked down this hallway, I would disappear from the bottom up. My feet would disappear, my body, and I would disappear, and my head would set like the sun. That's true, but we don't live on a ball because our horizon. And then if you zoomed in from here, you couldn't see me because this is a physical horizon. Our horizon is not physical, right? The anti-flat Earth globe trolls have succeeded. That's the word. Saying that the horizon, no one can see the horizon. It's not. It's always refracted. I mean, they're just grasping at straws.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've watched both, and the trolls. What they present is actually pretty lame. And
yeah.
But anyway, I was wondering if you also have any images, if you want to talk a bit about, when they show hot air balloons or rockets that go up and they show the image, it always shows this huge curvature. First of all, I don't want to, maybe now is not the time to bring this up, but I think the Earth is too small to be a globe and to do everything they say it can do. But from aerial photography and stuff, and they look out, they always use a fisheye lens, and it really exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
So this is the Red Bull jump, 127,000 feet. And by the way, the radio communications with them, they almost completely lost communication with them because 127,000 feet straight up was too far. They lost radio, but we're controlling a rover on Mars that's been up there for years.
that's a good
It's
point.
absolute nonsense. Nonsense. But if we examine in here, when we did all these rivers and stuff, this is all New Mexico. Okay? This is all New Mexico. When did New Mexico become, I don't know, a quarter of the Earth? And anytime you see a curve, take it and line it up with a globe, okay? And see how big it would be. And then you can see this makes no sense. If this is New Mexico, are you kidding me? Right? This would be the whole globe. It makes absolute no sense. The thing is, the Red Bull jump, they did 2 jumps before the one they televised. And they had regular lenses on them. And the cameras they used showed everything flat. So they put fisheye lenses. And then, maybe it was done for that reason. Maybe it was an afterthought. I don't know. But when Felix climbed in on ground level, you could see the horizon right here with a fixed camera. And then at 127,000 feet, when he opened the door, the horizon was at the same level. I mean, it even looks higher here, but, this could just be whatever. But 127,000 feet, nothing drops. Higher you go, the farther you can see, the lower the horizon will be. Okay? And so this is what it should look like. I mean, this is what it looked like. This is what it should look like if we're on a globe. This is, a simulation. And another thing that happened recently, a pilot was traveling, I think, from Germany to Brazil and did a time lapse. And he's going halfway over the globe. So the stars that are on the horizon should be over his zenith when he goes halfway down. But these stars didn't rise at all. This is what it should look like. This is an animation. The stars should be rising. This star should be all the way up at his zenith position by the time he got to Brazil, or even farther. Okay? But it didn't. Right? It didn't do it at all. This is it. I mean, the stars are rotating, but no matter which way they're rotating, they should be going, the entire star field should be rising up, because that airplane is, you got a star on the horizon here. Well, the airplane's going down. Well, now that star is directly above them, right? Airplane goes over, right? Star's over there, looking out the front windshield. Well, now the front windshield's looking down. That star should be directly above them. Game over. Everything is game over. The problem is, and as you said, it made you sick, because we try to build. Imagine if you had no beliefs, no understanding of anything. You'd be lost, and you might be scared. But or there's people that are afraid of everything because their belief system says a tiger is going to get me, a shark is going to get me. After Jaws, everybody was afraid of sharks, right? Right, and that's because their belief system. So people build a world of beliefs around them, beliefs and knowings, right? You believe my name is Dave. It's a pretty good belief, but you never really verified it. You never saw my birth certificate, okay? So it's a belief. It's not a knowing. Are you going to bother? Nah, I'm just going to call him Dave, okay? We live our lives like that. We believe stuff, okay? And belief's okay, because I don't want to live in a world where I can't believe anybody. God, I'd be busy. I'm already busy. I have enough stuff to verify. I'd rather, Karen, anything you tell me today, I'm probably going to believe it, okay? Or at least believe you believe it. And that's how we live our lives. But knowing is the problem. So when you have your worldview, you've created this whole world. You believe that you can go out and you're safe and all of the stuff. That's your world that you live in, and especially mothers. Okay, women like building a safe world belief around their families. They're like taking care. They're caregivers, and when you yank the rug out from underneath them, man, it's upsetting. But you've known this now for years. Would you ever go back into the false belief? Absolutely not. No way. And after you get your bearings.
Sorry, go ahead.
Good. No, I said the final thing is, after you get your bearings, you're now on solid ground. Like I'm standing here. I'm standing actually on a wobble board. I don't think I could do that on a spinning board, a spinning ball. mean, maybe I could, but I think we'd all be dead. So once you understand that you're at the center of creation, and then you start to understand what that really means, that you're actually more powerful than you've ever been told. And that, the 90% of your brain that tell you don't use in school, that's the goal of school. They don't want you using that other 90%. They don't want you connecting with nature. They don't want you connecting with source and the fields of information out there. They don't want you using telepathy. They don't want you connecting with other humans, right? Who are they? Well, they are the ones that are telling you to do this and to do this. Okay. Those are the they, right? They don't want you reaching your potential. And if they have you spinning on a ball, lost in space, powerless, and afraid of everything, well, then they're going to control you. But people go, what difference does it make? I can't do anything. Like, that's the belief, right? If you understood that they have no power over you, the only power anyone has over you is in your imagination, that changes the world, because that's
Sure
the
does.
truth. Yeah.
Sure does. What I've done is, especially since finding out about flat Earth theory, is that what I realized is that my beliefs all got shattered, and from lots of things, even just what's been going on over the last 3 years. But what I've done is replaced my beliefs with working theories. And as I get new information, I can adjust those theories. And I'm finding it's quite a stable ground to stand on. It's not as scary as what I thought. Another thing I wanted to say about what you just said is we've been brainwashed to think that we ourselves are stupid and ineffective. And so they teach us that we have to go outside to experts. So for our health, oh no, we'd never want to take that into our own hands. We want to go see a doctor and specialists. We don't want to try to form our own political body or ways of being in society, because that's what politicians do. And so it's all externalized, and all these external sources of so-called help and expertise, it's all bullshit. We're seeing it all fall apart in our modern time. More and more people are waking up, but it's a consumer market where money needs to be extracted from the masses. God only knows where it goes. And I think maybe Globe Earth and all this stuff, everyone's excited about the space program and the secret space program and the new Space Force that's out, and billions and trillions of dollars are going missing, and they're saying, well, that's where it's going. So I guess I'm kind of mixing up a few different thoughts here, but I'm just wondering what your response is to what I've said.
Everything that has to do with space is complete and total nonsense. I mean, and we can prove it. I'm not just saying it. I mean, space is scientifically impossible. A rock surrounded by water, surrounded by air, adjacent to a vacuum. Okay, that doesn't work. Stars, light years away, when we've proven that we can't see them just because of angular size, let alone the brightness issue, right? When you have a light, it spreads out. It gets dimmer and dimmer. Like if I yelled at someone a mile away, they're not going to hear me. Light goes farther, but not much, right? Light will travel faster and farther, but it spreads out until you can't see it anymore. Brightness. Let me just talk about my app for a second. And the reason I want to talk about the app is not to sell you an app. It's to tell people where they can find the information. Do you want to say something?
Oh, I want you to spend a lot of time on the app, because I think it's really a good resource for everybody.
I have an issue though. I have 4 ports on my computer. One of them died, and I need all 3. And the 4th one is for power, and I'm not going to have power. So I want to talk about the app, and then I'm going to unplug the app and go for it before my battery cuts out.
Go for it.
Right?
Spend as much. And the other thing too, Dave, is I've got a little bit more time than an hour if you do, but if you don't,
I can go a little longer. I can go a little longer if we're good.
Do spend time on the app. It's really important, and it's really exciting, and it's a one-stop resource for people to be able to go through the information on their own and learn.
Right. The fact that they're hiding flat Earth from us, you Google flat Earth, you find nonsense, you find all garbage, you find the stuff they want you to find. You find the interview I did with Professor Dave, who just totally acted like a fool and claims he won over me. But if you watch that video, I encourage people to watch it. You'll see that's the best science has, is just a guy that mocks and makes faces and acts like a child and gets his information from other scientists that he pays for. It's absolute nonsense. But the app, real quick, I don't want to spend a lot of time on the app. Every day there's a daily video. If you think flat earth is stupid, all I say is, while you're having your breakfast, while you're doing something, watch the daily video each day. And each day, usually short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend, but today was a special one. It's an hour. Sean Hibbler and I interviewed a guy that loves space, and we tried so hard. And it's a great interview. It was a 2-hour interview. We edited it down to 1. But every day there's a new featured video. And what I tell people is, watch it for 2 weeks. And if you still think the earth is a globe, send me a proof and you win 3 Bitcoins. Okay. But before you do, you have to hit the question mark button, and up come all of the questions that you probably ask. What about eclipses? What about seasons? We can talk about that stuff too. There's also other resources in here, tons of information, debunking the debunkers. Like if you see a video that slams flat earth, go here and there's an explanation, and we'll break it down for you because we've done the work. Tons and tons and tons of stuff. We have books. If you have kids, these first books right here, Flat Earth Man. Then we have regular adult books, all sorts of stuff. If you're a book reader, I highly recommend books, because one day this electronic stuff may not be here, and you might not have access to it. Tons of stuff. Homeschooling session, homeschooling stuff, adding more and more stuff. Just added the Bertaria app on here to help people find community. Speaking of community, have you used the friend finder on the app?
No, not yet.
So if you hit the friend finder, it'll show you all the other not all of them, just the ones that have my app, the other flat earthers near you. And I could tap on one of the dots and send that person a message. I can look at their profile. I can send out a group message. So right now, if I set my radius to 50 kilometers, right? Let's say I wanted to do a meetup. I have 422 people. I can send a message to all of them saying, hey, Saturday, Joe's Pizzeria, 123 Main Street. And then all these people show up. And guess what? Every person that shows up is a quality, awake, aware, not woke person. Okay. And it's so good that, a few years ago, people go, I'm flat earth. I'm all by myself. I just, I only have friends on the internet. This is the way to find local friends. Okay. And every single one of these people becomes your best friends, goes right in your best friend circle, and people are using it as a dating app also, and a job app. Because if I'm going to hire somebody, if I need someone to do some work, something, I'm going to send out a message like, hey, I've got this job opportunity, because those are the people I want, right? People that are awake and aware. Flat earthers only want to work for or work with other flat earthers. Flat earthers want to date other flat earthers. Flat earthers want to be friends with other flat earthers. Flat earthers want to hang out with other flat earthers. Okay. And we're in the advantage though, because anyone that's a glober, they might have not come across the information yet. You have a very good, greater than 50% chance of waking them up. And then they become an awake and aware person. That's fantastic. Globers are having a problem because they can't wake up a single dot on this map. They can't wake up anybody, right? They can't wake up anybody, right? And so here's the worldview real quick. How are we doing? Better. We're good. Good. Look at, here's the UK. Pretty impressive. Wow. If we look at America, right? The East Side's doing pretty damn good. And so there's lots of people around. And by the way, I think each dot represents 5% of the flat earthers out there. Okay. I think there's, almost 20 times more easy. It's got to be way more than that. I mean, because there's like 11 million people that are questioning the globe in Brazil alone. Okay. So it's absolute insanity. And for those of you that have the app, this new button right here, if you click it and you turn it on and I like the pop noise every time a glober becomes no more, becomes a flat earther. When they download the app, you get a little notification that says a new flat earther has joined, and it's kind of like everyone that has the app gets it at the same time. So imagine that, a pop, and everyone's like, yes, another flat earther at the same time. Everybody's spirit lifts at the same time. Okay, That's what the elite do. That's what they do with their movies and their news and everything they get, and their sports. They get everybody doing the same thing at the same time. And they use that energy. We're going to create our own energy. Okay. Right. And so it's going viral, if you will. Just for anyone that gets it, download it. If you have a referral code, right? That means if somebody referred it to you, like here's my referral code, DITRH, right? The way to get to that, if you have it, is just this button right here. This will tell you your referral code, and you can change it once. It's a bunch of numbers when you get it, but you can change it to Karen if you want, right? Just remember, it's cap sensitive. And then you give people your code, and anytime somebody downloads the app, it'll ask, do you have a referral code? Yes or no? And you put in the code, and then you get credit. And that credit is, well, we'll just say right now it's just good karma, but it'll also give you other perks on the app later. But it also will help you keep track of, like, hey, I woke up, 27 people this year. So that's a lot of fun. And, we're just taking it to the next level. So the next level, speaking of the next level, all of this can be found at flatearthdave.com. And I was in a movie. Did you see the next level yet?
Is that the one on Netflix?
No, that's a hit piece on Flat Earth. That's a really bad hit piece.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's called The Next Level. If you go to flatearthdave.com, there's a link for the next level right there. And once you, it's a great movie. It's done by Sean Hibbler, and he makes fantastic flat Earth stuff. You can get a high def copy. You can buy a high def copy at $7. There's low def copies also on the internet that you can find. But if you really, it's good to watch on a big screen. And I've had, I have some friends I grew up with that like, oh, flat Earth, okay, we kind of keep it like they weren't there. And then one day we're spending some time with them, and they have this giant 80-inch TV in this little like movie theater area. And they're like, what should we watch? And I was like, they're like, hey, your movie came out. Let's watch it. I'm like, don't tempt me with a good time. And we put it on. Everybody was riveted. At the end of it, lights came on. They looked over at me, and they both go, we're in. Like, oh my God, we're in. So it's a great, great, great movie to watch with friends and family or yourself. Okay. And because anyone that'll sit through the movie, I think it's an hour and a half, hour and 20, you can't come out the other side and not go, wow. Because the arguments people make are, I've seen boats go over the horizon. Well, we just showed that. Why would they lie, right? We go over why would they lie, right? So why would they lie? It's about control. It's about limiting our thoughts, right? Because if we have unlimited thoughts, that's dangerous, okay? If our thoughts go beyond their walls, we don't see their walls because we're trapped in a sphere, okay? Right? If we go beyond their walls, maybe we'll discover more land. Have you seen this map?
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about it because I have had paranormal experiences where I've actually had experiences with what I would call extraterrestrial beings. The funny thing about it is when I'm actually working on a book, is when I really analyze what I experienced, it fits in with the flat Earth model, because I was taught by beings not of this world that we've been created and placed into habitats. So rather than thinking of it as worlds, think of it as habitats. And so that picture that you're showing now shows many different kind of habitats or places where people are, and that certainly is extraterrestrial, meaning it's outside of our physical area. And so anyway, what do you say about that?
Yeah, so this is our pond, right? And we're only living in the center of the pond because you have the Antarctic ring. But then there's other worlds here. Now, these are just thousands or tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of miles away, okay? Here on a flat plane, covered, in some sort of containment. That is scientifically possible. Now, we don't know if it's set up like this because we're not allowed to go explore. We want the right to freely travel and explore, right? Forget this. I mean, they shut down airships because airships are a good way to get there. You don't need much fuel or any fuel.
Yeah.
Okay. You can do it with some solar panels and an airship, right?
Mhm.
So, and then, the extra land, more land, extra territory, extraterrestrials. They're telling us, the words explain everything, right?
Yeah.
This is scientifically possible. No, it's not possible. Outer space, rock wall, ball, water, gas, vacuum. Doesn't happen. Polaris, 433 light years away. Impossible. Couldn't see it. The closest star, 4.5 light years. 4.5 light years. Okay, 100 times closer than Polaris. 4.5 light years, 25 trillion miles. If you were going 100,000 miles an hour, which you can't fathom, right? 100,000 miles an hour. Okay, it would take you 28,000 years to get to the closest star. Okay, and how is it going through a vacuum of space? You know what happens when you put something in a vacuum chamber, a soda can, a bottle, anything, it explodes when you take the air out. The Sandusky vacuum chamber that NASA has, the walls are 10 or 11 feet thick, cement and concrete, because when they suck the air out of it, they don't want it to implode. Okay. But our space station tin can is in a vacuum, which is more of a vacuum than the vacuum chamber could be. How come astronaut suits, which need high pressure, don't explode? How come they don't blow up like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? Okay. There's no explanation just from going on an airplane. Next time you get on an airplane, get a thin water bottle, a thin, cheap water bottle, and drink all the water. And then put the cap on when you're on the ground really tight. And then when you get to altitude, open the cap. It wants to explode because there's a slight pressure change. Okay. Right. And then do the same. Then tighten it at altitude and land. And by the time you land, it'll be half crunched. It'll be crunched from the air pressure that you barely notice except for your ears. Okay. And we're talking a minor difference. You're still breathing. You're fine. I mean, it's just, we're talking a fraction of a difference, right? Space is a void, a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. Okay. A vacuum with burning balls at infinite distances apart that we can still see, right? None of it is scientifically possible. This is scientifically possible. I'm not saying that's the way it is. Some people say our Earth is all there is. We're under God's dome. He's over the North Pole, and that's it. I don't know about that. I don't know. I think there's more land. Whether maybe there's one pond, maybe there's 178 ponds, like this map shows.
Yep.
Okay. And maybe there's more out here. I don't know. I bet on this. I think that this is quite possible. And then think about this. The truth in the movies lies in the news. They tell us, Star Wars and stuff. Well, you got all these fighting factions and stuff. Hey, maybe there is fighting going on between these lands. Maybe there's different, issues. We have fighting here between our continents and stuff. Most of that is orchestrated, but maybe these different ponds are having different issues. And you talk about, what'd you say, that the different vibrations, different people live in these other ponds are spiritually, different spirituality levels, right? I think that's quite possible. I think these are connected by tunnels. Okay. Just a theory I have. And when you look into the orphan trains that happen with kids showing up after resets when they need kids, really weird stuff. Look at Disneyland. Disney is highly involved in all of this New World Order stuff. All their theme parks are connected by tunnels that we can't see, delivering goods and foods and things that they need. Okay.
Yep.
I think, and there are tunnels here. Like, I always talk about Penn Station in New York in the 1960 or so. They tore it down because it was too big and too hard to clean. And they built a crappy system. But besides that, when did they build it that they had to tear it down in 1960? When did they build it? And there's all these tunnels that they don't use in New York City. Wait a minute.
Yep.
They dug these tunnels and they're not using them? Or did we reclaim these cities? Right?
Yeah.
No, these cities are reclaimed from a previous civilization.
Yep.
There was a reset. And a lot of people are trying to figure out when the reset happens. People are like, oh, it's every 26,000 years. I think it's more like 150 years. Okay.
I'd
maybe
have to
less.
agree with you. I've seen images and some really old-fashioned video, or I don't know, recording, how they recorded it back in the 1800s, where they had all these spires with electricity and everything was lit up. Like, you couldn't do that with candles. There's so many things, all these amazing tunnels that were around. We don't know how long. But clearly they were in use in the 1800s. You can see people in the style or the fashion of that time lining up. They had moving sidewalks. They had so much technology, and then boom, gone, just gone.
They have, there's so much stuff that we can't figure out how they built. And people say, oh, aliens built it. Now, I have one that takes it one step farther. Okay. There's a creator. This is not a random accident, not a big bang where, lightning struck and created an amoeba that turned into a frog that turned into a human. Okay. This is a creation. So if you're the creator and you create this amazing realm, maybe it was way more amazing than we're saying. Maybe we're living in the ruins of the realm, which I think we are. Okay. You create this realm. What do? You just throw down some people and go, good luck figuring out free energy. Hope you figure out, that. No, you lay down some infrastructure. Okay. If you're going to build this realm, why not throw down some kingdoms? Okay. Why not throw down some real infrastructure? And maybe that's, what this place originally was. And then something took it down. Maybe God took it down. Maybe men took it down. Maybe, who knows? But, you've looked, I assume you've looked into the giant trees and everything.
Oh yeah. And Tartaria.
Yeah.
And I mean, once you get your head wrapped around the good possibility of a flat earth. The reason I say it that way is I'm not that skeptical. It's just that I've never been off the planet to look down on it. You know what I mean? And so I'm working with theories here. But once you kind of get your head wrapped around the whole flat earth theory, then it's like the scales are removed from your eyes and you can just see so many hidden or forbidden truths and knowledge, and it just all makes perfect sense. It just starts snapping into place. And that free fall kind of fear you feel in the beginning goes away, and you feel more grounded actually in the long run, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
But Karen, we don't know. It's right. We don't know how, when, of a lot. Okay. I'll just leave it vague like that. But we can see things, buildings that are underground. Our Capitol building has another building underneath it. What's going on there? So we know that our history is a lie. And you've seen the technology with the moving sidewalks and the incredible buildings and stuff when they had just horses and buggies and pulleys. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. None of that makes any sense. So history is a lie. Space is a lie. We can scientifically prove that in 2 minutes. Everything shows us that we're not on a ball. So what is this? I don't know. But we know it's not a ball floating in space. End of story. Okay. We know that NASA's not going to space. NASA's lying about everything. Okay. We know that everything they tell us is complete and total nonsense. We know there's free energy. Okay. That we can pull from the ground or pull from the air, but they don't want us to know it. Right. There's cars that run on water that they've suppressed. Imagine if they didn't suppress that. And then other thinking intelligent minds could all work on that together. We'd have flying cars also and flying baby strollers. Okay. We'd have everything. Okay. Because we're stifled. We're not allowed to see that. Anybody that creates something that termed perpetual motion, which means its output is greater than its input. That's considered a national security threat and it's removed. What? Right? What if you had something the size of a roll of quarters that would heat your house for your entire life? And another thing the size of a roll of quarters that would power your house and your car for the rest of your life. Okay? They can't have that. How are they going to sell you fuel and tax you and everything? What if you had all the power that you needed, right? All the heat and power that you needed, and land and access to water, which is everywhere. There's water in the air. There's water below you. There's water above you. And you can grow your own food. What would you need all of this other nonsense for? You can just create a community with your neighbors. Everything would be most amazing. Your kids will become highly educated because they'd have real world living experiences versus the indoctrination of these friggin' grooming schools that we have now. It's the worst thing ever. People say,
I agree.
Why with Dave, with all the crazy, with all the trouble in the world right now, wars and and the boogeyman in the air and all of this stuff, why are you talking about flat earth? Because that's how we got into this situation. We're lost in space, spinning out of control, not knowing who we are, not knowing that the world is created, not knowing our power. And we're listening to a bunch of people that have climbed on top of us, government, God, man, government. Government's on top of man, and it's trying to get on top of God. They're trying to become the gods of this world. Okay. So the whole thing is inverted, and people are allowing it to happen. The good news is they're not allowed to do it without our permission. Okay. And they tell us everything. Everything is told to us. The thing that happened in New York, they told us about it for years ahead of time. They told us about it. They warned us it was coming, and we allowed it to happen. And after it happened, I pounded the war drum. I said, we need to go get those bad guys. And they went and they destroyed lots of the old world. First thing we did in Iraq, went into the museums.
Yeah.
What? Why do we go into the museums? What's going on there? What did they have there? Okay. It's all done with permission. And if we just say no, when they try something and we say, no, I don't accept that. I do not allow it. I do not grant your permission. That's all we need to do. But everyone needs to do it. Or a lot of people need to do it. Right. Yeah. And so why am I talking about flat earth? Because this is the lie that keeps us in prison. This is the lie that hides your true power. This is the lie that keeps us as slaves. Right. I don't know if you've seen the new thing that Saudi Arabia, I think it's Saudi Arabia talking about the line, the building that's like 150. Yeah, a prison within a prison. Okay. So you're in a prison. Cage. You're in a prison. Beautiful. Well, beautiful. It might be fun to visit. And then you're on a ball, which is a prison, and they want to just give it all back to nature. That sounds wonderful, but there's so much nature and availability of everything. I mean, this world is not what they're telling us, right? The amount of people, it's a lie. The amount of people that got this thing stuck in their arm, it's a lie. Okay. It's all lies. It's all lies.
And like you said before, it's all about control. Very few controlling everybody. All that's happened, especially in the last year, Dave, is I get the distinct impression that we're not even viewed as sovereign beings by the I'm going to call them Parasite Class, because I object to calling them elites. There's nothing elite about them. They're parasites. And what they've done is just created this whole environment where they just get to consume from our bodies, consume from our minds. So for instance, all these toxic chemicals like fluoride, dump them in the water, feed it to people, tell them it's good for their teeth, and on and on and on it goes. And so our bodies are acting as filters to filter these terrible chemicals that have been created that nobody knows what to do with. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over the show. I'm just sort of telling you.
I love it. You don't even need me here.
Oh, sure I do. Actually, I actually tried to get you on the show for over a year, but I didn't seem to make the connection for some reason. I guess the time wasn't right. But then you want to get onto the pharmaceuticals. I'm going to be doing a presentation on Forbidden Knowledge News at the end of this month about the whole transgender issue. What people don't realize is the pharmaceuticals, which is interesting because we're all supposed to stop using oil and gas. Meanwhile, all the pharmaceuticals are made out of oil and gas, right? All the plastics, all the medical equipment, everything. But anyway, what they've done is they've introduced androgens into the human population. So the right mix of hormones are not there to create the biological sexes anymore. And so all these people are being born. Did you know 1 in every 200 births, actually, the human live births, 1 in 200 is born with ambiguous genitalia that they surgically just default them all to females. So what's happening is mothers babies in the womb are not getting the right mix of stuff to come out, as
Right.
male
I mean, this
and
is
as
all by
female. And I'm
design.
not speaking against transgender people. I'm saying this has all been set up. And
Right.
again, you have to go back to sort of flat earth theory to deprogram to a certain point to be able to see all this other stuff. Sorry, Dave.
I mean, they're poisoning it. No worries. They're poisoning us with all these chemicals, and that's why there is so much issues that people are having. I don't have a problem with any people, because you are the way you are. But why are you the way you are? Why are they diverting us away from natural, gender? There's 2 genders, male and female. If people have issues, I don't have any problem with the people. You have to understand that it's not natural. It's not natural. So getting off of that, and I'm not afraid to talk about that because it is what it is. So I had a good point, but now it's gone.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
But I think what we're really
it'll come
talking
back to me.
about here is the inversion and the Parasite Class wanting to just use us as basically like lab rats to do experimental stuff on and get our bodies to filter. Our livers are filtering all this toxic stuff we were never meant to be exposed to. And it's pretty ugly, and it's a bit disturbing, I have to say. So, what are they up to? What do you think their end goal is? Because
their end goal is to make us genderless, unable to have children without assistance, slaves that, with their, they call it crypto, but it's not crypto, it's digital money. And the money will be programmed money. Like, oh, no, you can't buy beer with that. You have to buy this. You can't buy, you've used too much fuel. You can't buy that ticket to go here. And so your money will literally, no, you said something on Facebook, so you can't spend money on this, right? That's what they want. They don't understand. So again, the way they control us, they have us in their prison, the globe, and they have us playing with their monopoly money. And our money is monopoly money. It's all it is. So we need to stop playing with their money. We need to start trading with each other. We need to start using our own cryptocurrencies, privacy cryptocurrencies. People think, oh, crypto is bad. Well, I don't care where it came from. Crypto is the key to our freedom. Okay. Because if we all started using Monero or Pirate Chain or whatever privacy crypto is the one out there, or another one is Epic Cash. These things work instantaneously. Like, hey, if I needed to send my friend PK some money, I could send them in 2 seconds for a cost of a penny, any amount of money I want using these crypto things. So why do we need the middleman? Why do we need the banks? Right? The bankers write the textbooks to teach us to be good banking customers. They don't teach us to be bankers. Okay. They are the ones that are controlling the world. You know why? Somebody can't say, I'm going to make textbooks and sell them to the public schools, because you make your textbook and let's say it costs you $50 to actually print the textbook. That would be pretty cheap for a good heavy textbook, a science textbook. Well, the Rockefellers will make them and they'll sell them to the school for $3 at a loss, even if it costs them $50 to make it. They'll sell it for $3 to the school who's underfunded. And the school can't go buy your $50 textbook. They don't have the money for that. So they only buy the information. And, I always tell the story when I was in kindergarten or first grade, they're teaching us about gravity. They brought us outside. Teacher swung a bucket of water around and said, that's gravity. It was really centrifugal force. And I had the wherewithal to say, but if the earth is a ball and the water's on the outside, adjacent to a vacuum, I didn't say that, wouldn't you have to turn the bucket around? And the teacher goes like this. He goes over, gets a textbook. He goes, look, this is how they tell me to teach it. So that's how I'm teaching it. Okay. And that, I kind of forgot about it, but that put a seed in there. Like, this is bullshit. Okay. This is complete and total bullshit. Right. We were taught calculus and geometry, but not sacred geometry, not vortex mathematics, not, Fibonacci stuff, and people are like, well, what's sacred geometry? It's like, it's the most amazing thing out there. Look up vortex mathematics or sacred geometry. It's getting harder and harder to find it. I'm going to create a button on the app in the homeschooling section for vortex mathematics and sacred geometry.
Great.
That'll be on there within a day or two.
That'd be
I'm gonna
great.
put that in the homeschool. That'll be in the homeschooling section.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, just on the app, you can find it at flatearthdave.com. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. I don't expect you to remember that. Flatearthdave.com. The link is there. Apple, Android, iPads, tablets, not computers. And if you go,
And all the links
that?
will be in the description below, folks, so that you can easily find Dave in
Right.
the app.
flatearthdave.com. If you have a show and you want to book me, there's a book Dave there. If you're having an issue with your phone and the app, because it's a pretty intense app, hit the support button. Send us the information. Be detailed about what you're telling us, and we'll fix it for you. And then there's lots of stuff on there. You don't want to get the app. There's tons of stuff on there. The crash course is on there. All sorts of stuff. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm wondering if we can move back into kind of the classical flat earth information. Dave, for those of the viewers who are familiar, they already know what the map looks like, but I'm wondering, do you have a flat earth map that you can show? I know we talked a bit about the ponds, but do you have an actual image of the flat earth map? And the interesting thing I realized from watching another podcast was that maps is actually spam spelt backwards, and all the maps that were given in school and in encyclopedias and stuff, they all come with an agenda where they want to spread ideologies or religion, and none of them are accurate anyway. So wait, can you tell us about the flat earth map and what contains the oceans? Like we see all these fake flat earth images of water, waterfalls flowing off the sides and stuff. Well, that's ridiculous, but it's contained somehow, right? Can you get into that a little bit?
Yeah. So when you look up flat Earth, you're gonna find the disk floating in space, right? You're gonna find what they want you to think the world is. Google flat Earth and you'll see a disk floating in space, water going over the edge, boats going over the edge. No flat earther thinks that. Okay. I'm trying to find the image I was looking for. Oh, this. So the easiest way to think about it is this, right? This is our pond. Think of all the oceans in the world as a pond. The islands are all the continents. They're all surrounded by water, but the water needs to be in a container. And that's land that's higher than the surface, right? A pond, a lake. The land that surrounds it's higher than the surface. That's how it holds the water in. Lateral pressure. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth, okay? They want us to believe Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of a globe where there's no pictures of it from space. They want us to believe that this is the case, but that's not the case. We're not allowed to explore beyond 60 degrees south, okay? And we want the right to explore beyond there. So this isn't a picture. This is just a depiction because you can't get up high enough to see this. Okay. But if you go to Antarctica, you can see the ice wall. There's all sorts of pictures and videos that Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Here's some images, and that's the shoreline of our world. The ice wall, not like the Game of Thrones. It's the shoreline that has a high land plateau on top. And so that holds in our world.
And we're not allowed to, nobody is allowed to go, actually, they can go on the little peninsula,
Right.
But they can't actually go on the continent. They can't they can't fly over it. That was the other thing we didn't even get into. We may not have time today, is about the flight paths. That was really interesting too.
We'll do that real quick. Antarctic Treaty, 1959. You can't question it until the year 2041. And nobody's allowed to go there and explore. And they have ships on, naval bases all around the pond that stop you from getting close to Antarctica. Some fishermen tried to do it. There's a clip in the movie, but I think I have some of it. Here it is. And just jump forward. These guys went beyond that 60 degrees south, and all of a sudden, a warship shows up, radios them, says, "You're in restricted waters. Turn around. Turn around. Oh, look at the curve. Right? Maybe Earth is a globe. Okay, there's a nice curve." Kidding. It's a fisheye lens. Okay.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but people think that's a curve. No, it's not. And they kicked them out.
Yep. That's interesting in itself. And then there's the flights that would be, if the Earth was a globe and they were flying from one point to another point, it would be much closer to just fly over Antarctica, but instead they have to make all these other flight paths.
Did we talk about the time lapse from with the stars not going up? Did we talk about that? Did we talk about this?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Okay, all right. I thought I forgot
That's
which
okay.
interview.
It's a lot of information. It's really a lot, and everything's connected. So
let me ask you a question. Going from any northern location to any other northern location, would you ever need to go below the equator to get there? Doesn't make sense.
No.
So northern to northern, right? You got your equator in the middle. You got your equator in the middle. If you're going from anywhere, any point above the equator, you would just go to that point. You would just go. You wouldn't ever go below the equator. And guess what? No flights ever do. Any northern flight to any other northern flight, they always stay above the equator. The problem is southern flights should do the same, going from a southern location to another southern location. But for some reason, they go all the way up here and then all the way back down, crossing the equator twice. Well, on a flat Earth, that's a straight line. Okay. And here's another one. They go all the way, right? Why do they go all the way up to Los Angeles? Why do they go all the way up to Los Angeles? Why didn't they just go whoosh, done right over? Okay. Well, look at it. It's pretty much a straight line. A little refueling. It's a straight line. Why would they do this if the Earth was a globe? Right? Look at another one. This one again, up to Los Angeles, then to Peru. Why didn't they just go straight to Peru? Straight line, right? And then the kicker is the emergency landings. Sometimes there's an emergency on an airplane and they need to land quickly. So there's an emergency to happen right about here. Well, they went 1,000 miles out of the way to Seattle. Why? Why did they go out of the way? Why didn't they just stop in Los Angeles or anywhere? Okay, well, here's Seattle, right on that flight path. Got another one. Went all the way to Moscow. That's way out of the way. Huge. And they got there really fast. How'd that happen? Moscow is right on the flight path. Okay. Another one. Dallas to Beijing. Stopped in Calgary. Okay. Where would it make sense to go to Calgary? Right here. Calgary. Right on the line. All right. So now, is this proof? No, this is a meme that I'm telling you. You haven't verified it. You believe it. It's interesting, but you have to verify it. Well, guess what? Eddie, Flat Earth Banjo, has made it easy for you. He made a book. You can order it on lulu.com, 16 emergency landings, proving flat Earth. or you get the free PDF online. Just Google it, you'll find it. There's a whole website, and you get the whole book. So all of it's detailed, all the information you need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I was going to ask you, for the viewers who are not really familiar with flat Earth theory, probably their minds are kind of blown right now, and you go through a bit of period where you're really confused and you don't know what to believe anymore. What I had to do was put it down and then come back, a month later whenever I was feeling more settled and watch more information, because it really did shake up my paradigm. But my paradigm needed shaking up because it's what set me free, from the brainwashing. So what are the steps that you recommend folks follow? And please, I'm going to actually probably split this video into two parts. For the folks that are watching the second part, please do feel free to go back into a little bit more about your app. But what do you recommend people do? What are the steps that you would recommend to help them with this awakening process? Because it's a pretty big one. I mean, this is equal to being born and giving birth and dying. This is huge.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So my recommendation is take it slow. Go and if you Google flat Earth, you're not going to find any information, right? You can go to my website, flatearthdave.com. There's tons of stuff there, but everybody has their phones in their hands. So let's use this curse as a blessing, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And every day, just watch the daily video. That's it. Just watch one video a day. But this is what happens. You'll be like, I don't know, it's interesting. And then the next video that pops up will not be a YouTube suggestion. It'll be my suggestion, right? Because I put them everything in playlists. And then you'll start watching more and more videos. And just watch your goal is to watch one video a day for 2 weeks. And that's how you learn, right? And then, on my website, there's the Flat Earth Crash Course. Those are full-length videos. Like, turn off the Netflix, throw it up on the big screen, clean up from dinner, put the kids to bed or have them join you and watch these videos and then discuss them, right? Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything I'm telling you. Go verify it yourself. You've been brainwashed because you believe you live on a globe and you can't come up with one reason, because if you did, you'd have 3 Bitcoins and I would have not 3 Bitcoins, okay? So come and get them. I challenge you, because it's the best thing that ever happened for you. It's literally your red pill moment. This is your red pill moment, okay? And, the app has tons of stuff, you like memes? Go into the images, scroll down to the bottom of the images, and we got some of the best memes. Let's just load for a second. Got great memes these memes alone will wake you up, right? Tons of stuff, new stuff every day. It'll make you think. And you know what the thing is? We were never taught to think. We were taught to memorize and believe.
Yeah.
And so that's how they get us. So, the app does all of that. And anyone that's watching, what's today? Today is the 3rd of August. Go back to the 3rd of August and watch this video. This is a fantastic one. And it shows you how ridiculous space believers are. And we don't make fun of the guy. We like the guy. He's super nice, most respectful glober out there, but he's lost in space. And because he's really good at math, but he doesn't do the large numbers. He doesn't look and go, that galaxy that I'm looking at in this picture, I believe it's 500 quintillion miles away, and somehow the light can get to us. I mean, it's all absolute nonsense. And people go, well, that's because the light's been traveling for a long time. It's not even there anymore. It could be burned out. That's just a story. Okay, that doesn't make any scientific sense. It's all absolute and total nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my recommendation. Just go slow. Go very, very, very slow, and just start watching the videos. And again, don't just believe videos. The videos are going to show you, they're going to show you things that you never thought of. There's doors all around you, but people have been brainwashed not to see them. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like the Matrix. All those doors, they lead to other places. Go check them out. Verify it yourself. The easiest thing to do is disprove the globe. It's scientifically impossible. Rock, surrounded by water, surrounded by air, adjacent to a void. Game over. Can't have it. Nowhere in nature or in a lab or anywhere can you have high pressure next to low pressure without a vacuum, without a barrier, without a container, right? I don't care if it's upside down, sideways, doesn't matter. The low pressure will suck the high pressure to it until they equalize. No matter what, I can drink through a straw. Gravity's not holding it down, and the weak low pressure of my mouth and lungs will pull it up and away. What about gravity? Well, in the app, hit the frequently asked questions, hit the gravity button, watch those videos, and then you'll learn that gravity is a theory and electrostatics is a scientifically provable force. Electrostatic force, which is scientifically provable, and we can make things go up or down by changing their electrostatic potential, is scientifically provable. Okay, the electrostatic force is 10 to the 26th power. I don't even know what that number is. Stronger than gravity. Okay, and gravity is just a theory that doesn't work, so they made up some nonsense, dark matter and dark energy. And even if gravity was real, the electrostatic force is sextillions, which you again, unfathomable. A quintillion is unfathomable, okay? And it's more than hundreds of quintillions, okay? Times stronger. Well, how would it? So if something goes down, how do they know it's gravity? It's just a stupid theory, okay? So again, belief is the enemy of knowing, and laziness is the easy thing, right? You believe my name's David, you can go take a nap. You got nothing else to worry about. But if you want to actually figure it out, it's going to take you some time and effort. If you want to know where you live, it's going to take you some time and effort. Or you can believe a guy in a bow tie that lies named Bill. Okay, he'll tell you that boats disappear when they go over a curve. That's true. You just don't live on a curved Earth.
Half truths and fantasy. I'm just wondering, do you have just a couple minutes more for us to talk a little bit about the Oort Cloud and the Kuiper belt, or is your time?
I don't know a lot about it, but it sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Go ahead.
Well,
what do you got?
Yeah, I have an image. I don't know if you have one. I have one I could just quickly share if you want.
I have I think I have the image that you want is.
Okay. Because as soon as I saw that, I actually did a podcast about it because it's impossible.
This guy? This guy?
No, basically, long story short, the image, if you could imagine the Earth being like a really small, or our solar system being inside of an egg. And so our solar system is supposed to be encased. I'll just show you quickly. I have one here. Oh, I can't screen share.
That's okay. I can give you that.
Okay.
Screen share.
Go
ahead. You can do it now. Okay, you can do it now.
Let's try it now. Shoot, hang on just a sec.
So while you're pulling that up, this is some star nursery. Stars are born there. There's gas and dust in a vacuum. Okay, it's not a vacuum then. There's gas and dust that are combining, creating stars. So this is so big you can't even imagine, because stars are being born inside this thing. And then after it makes a star, what does it do? Poop it out? Like, does it send it? Like, it made a star. So where's it going now? How's it going to go find its space?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. This is absolute nonsense. And people just love telling stories about this. This is a horrible painting. And whoever made it is laughing at us for believing that this is a stellar nursery. Gas and dust in space. That's not space. In a vacuum. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, let me just open this image, and then I'll just share it quickly here. There it is. Okay, so they say this inside here, these rings here are the Kuiper belt, and this would be our sun, and these would be so-called planets of our solar system. And then this is this Oort cloud that is supposed to completely encase our solar system, much the way a shell would be around an egg. So the thing that it hit me is that's impossible. They say it's all made out of ice crystals. So if our sun is in the middle, all those ice crystals would be reflecting that light back. And we wouldn't be able to see any stars. We wouldn't be able to see anything if that were really there. And so that tells me that whether there is or isn't an Oort cloud, our habitat or the earth as we're discussing it has actually got some kind of a dome on it, and these are being projected from that. There's just no way we would be able to see out to the constellations and things like that if there was this eggshell of ice crystals surrounding our solar system. It would be impossible. So I know you've got a picture, actual picture of a star.
Yeah, that whole Oort cloud thing is just nonsense for your mind to fathom, not be able to comprehend, and believe. Belief is the enemy of knowing. Okay. Yeah, this is a star. You can see it with your naked eye. It kind of looks like that when you look at it with your naked eye. I would zoom in on it, and it's pretty damn cool. It's not a burning gas giant in the middle of a vacuum problem, trillions of miles away. Not. It's just not. It's right here. It's sentient. It's energetic, right? I think that these things we see in the sky are part of us. They're part of, they always tell us we're made of stars. Well, maybe that's where our souls are. Maybe stars are souls, right? Maybe that's where we go when we're not having these physical experience here in this realm. And, and there's all different amusement parks. This is the Earth amusement park. Okay. We're learning. Maybe this appears to be a wasteland from a something that we can't even fathom, with trees, miles and miles high, not just miles high, like tens of miles high, and all sorts of stuff. There's so much to learn. One thing that I can guarantee is that you never have a moment of boredom. Once you understand what this place isn't, once you understand what it isn't, there's too much interesting stuff to ever be bored. Ever. I
totally agree. So nothing is as it appears. And we talked a bit about, the end game for the Parasite Class, but I'm wondering, have they bought into their own bullshit, or do they realize the true nature of Earth and our potential, and that's why they're clamping down on it so hard?
I think these, just my opinion, the people that we see that are running the world have literally lost their souls. They let their souls be taken over, and for fame and fortune and power, and they don't know why we're here. We're here to experience love, right? Maybe that's why dogs are just pure love, and dog spelled backwards is God. I don't know. There's something there. Okay. What are cats though? I'm trying to figure that out because my cats are driving me crazy.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a cat person, and it's just
we have two.
I think they're loving too, because really they're little killing machines. And yet, they'll roll over and let us scrub their bellies. So,
Yeah. I have two cats, Anunnaki and Nephilim. I named them before I knew that the Earth was flat.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So I guess I'm just going to ask you one more question, and then I probably should let you go. But what about ET? What's your take on ET? Would that be beings from one of the other ponds? Or do you think that's complete nonsense? Or what do you think?
Extraterrestrials, absolutely. They come from the extra territory. There's more advanced worlds beyond Antarctica. There might be more primitive worlds out there, but I think it's generally more advanced. People that have graduated from here, or people that came from elsewhere. I think that these other ponds, they can come here and they can visit. Now you talk about abductions. Well, there's military abductions that happen.
Yeah.
There's demonic, non-physical entities, spiritual stuff that happens. And then there's maybe some people from the outer worlds are doing some stuff. I don't know. And there could be also people talk about hollow earth. There definitely is life below us. There's a realm below us. Maybe it's part of this realm, maybe it's a separate realm. I don't know. But the elites sure seem to be trying to break through and allow whatever is below us in. So extraterrestrials, Antarctica, what is it from here? I don't know, 10, 15,000 miles away, maybe. And then another 5,000 miles, maybe there's more realm. Maybe so 20, 25, 30,000 miles away, there could be a whole nother world. An island as big as the United States or Australia with a whole nother population in it. I actually think that there's cities of people, from what I've heard, hearsay, in Antarctica, another world living in Antarctica that we're not allowed to communicate with, and they're not allowed to communicate with us. And it's too far to send a radio signal. It's too far to do anything, right? But there could be other extra terra. In my mind, there's no doubt. Again, I'm not claiming it as a fact. I'm claiming it as we want the right to go explore our realm. That's it. So extraterrestrials, absolutely, in my mind, abso-friggin-lutely, but they're not coming from outer space. People say, disclosure's coming. Disclosure, you got, the Disclosure Project with, I'm spacing on his name right now, but you have, you got these ET guys. If they're shills, that's one thing, but if they're serious, they're looking in the wrong way. They're looking at impossible space and impossible distance and time frames when disclosure is right here. It's a couple thousand miles away. It's here today. It's here now. Visitation is here. I think some of them are permanently here. I'm willing to bet when you go out and, if you walk through 1,000 people somewhere in a city, some of them are not from here. Okay? That's just me.
I would agree. I mean, a lot of people talk about their ET experiences, and it's always about the grays and abductions and this and that. My experience was completely different. It was spiritual. And the beings look very much like us. There are some subtle differences, but no more than the natural diversity we would see here on Earth. You know what I mean?
I bet you they speak English and Spanish too.
And they are actually our next stage of evolution. So they've already dealt with all this bullshit that we're dealing with, and they've already got all of that organized, and they run on the love harmonic, because when people are truly educated about what love means, we would never go and kill other people. We wouldn't steal their stuff. We wouldn't do all the stupid stuff that's going on planet Earth. We wouldn't do that anymore. It's not to our advantage to even be like that. So I'm very grateful.
There's a couple great books.
I just had a 3-month experience. It's not like this has happened every day of my life, but sorry, go ahead, Dave.
There's a couple of great books in the app. One of them is called The Iron Republic, and it's a story about a politician that was sick and tired of what's going on, got a ship, went to Antarctica, went through a passage, got lost at sea for a couple months, and then found land, found an advanced city, lived there, got married, this whole thing, and then his wife died. He came back, and he told the story of this land. This was in 1901. It was published, and he's talking about flat screens and technology and all sorts of stuff, a whole different government, right? And the story was those people used to live here, but in the 1600s, they didn't like the tyranny. Could you imagine that tyranny? And they left, and they brought everything, and they moved to the outer lands. Well, with what's going on in the world right now, the last thing they want us knowing that we have options, right?
Yep, they want us quiet and compliant and knowing our place. And they want everything, and they want us to have nothing. And also, we're basically like lab rats, like we discussed earlier in the show. They test all their chemicals and their pharmaceuticals, and they got their war machine going. And I've done a lot of research into history, and it's always the same old story. You got a couple of people that have all the power, or families, I guess, that have all the power. Yep. They get pissed off at each other, and they take all the farmers and the ordinary people, and they dress them up, and they send them out to kill each other to try to settle these scores. And it hasn't changed from the days of the Egyptians and the Romans and the Greeks, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's tiresome. I'm just going to say that it's tiresome, and it's time for something different and something new. And I appreciate what you do so much, because you're helping open up people's minds. And I think that's the first and very uncomfortable step. It's even tied into the dark night of the soul, where we need to wake up. And I'm not talking about the woke generation. That's a completely different thing. That's a construct, but we need to wake up, and we need to be uncomfortable until we get more comfortable, and we find our footing.
All right, Karen, I do have to run. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Okay, thanks so much.
FlatEarthDave.com. Everything's
Yes.
at FlatEarthDave.com, FlatEarthDave.com. Get the app, check it out. Go read the reviews on the app if you're unsure, right? Just go read the reviews. And open your mind. Look, don't believe. No. Take the time. Believe and know. And there's so much information on here. It'll blow you away. And anybody that's near South Carolina in October, we're having a conference down there called Flattoberfest. It's linked in the app, but you can find it at flatearthfestivals.com, October 20, 21, and 22. And it's going to be amazing conference. Great people, great energy. It's going to be mind-blowing. And so if you can make it there, it's worth the trip.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, Dave, and for joining us on the Quantum Guide Show. Goodbye, everybody. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to Karen's YouTube channel, click the like button, and share the show with your friends. Check out Karen's website at KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. All the links are available in the description box below. Until the next time, keep up the good work.
Surrendering to endlessness puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul to do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion,